Murfreesboro has like a kind of like a house show type of scene. What is this? West Virginia right here? No, that's North Carolina. Raleigh, Fayetteville, Greensboro, Charlotte, which we're playing in a couple weeks. Charleston was in South Carolina. That was a really cool spot. Ethan for the Freaks booking threw us on a show whenever we were trying to fill something. In August of last year, Savannah's in Georgia. Yeah, of course you have Atlanta. Montgomery is where Delta Hate's from, but I don't know if they have like an actual scene for like shows and shit there. Mobile, obviously. Pensacola, Panama City. Panama City Beach is also next to it. That's a hardcore scene. Tallahassee's kind of like a secret club city. That happens sometimes. It's harder to break into some places just because of how they are. Gainesville Solid, that's where the Ox is from. Tampa, Miami, Fort Lauderdale. Fort Lauderdale is where we're playing South Florida coming up. Orlando, Melbourne. St. Augustine, I don't know if they do anything much anymore, but it is a cool place. Jacksonville. West Virginia actually has some pretty cool scenes there. We played in Beckley right here back in August, and they have another one. I don't remember what it's called though, what the name of the city is. I think it has like a French name. Yeah, don't sleep on West Virginia. It's kind of in the middle of nowhere, but there's still a place to go. Roanoke, Virginia Beach, Richmond. Those are the cities you need to pay attention to. Baltimore, we actually traveled through Baltimore to get up to Philadelphia last year. It's I don't I don't know how I feel about it. I haven't played there. And then remember, New York has more than just the New York City part of it. New York is actually a pretty decently sized state with some scenes that actually are active. So you got Syracuse, you got Rochester, you got Buffalo, you got Albany. Albany is actually the state capital of New York. Fun fact. There's a place called Poughkeepsie, which is kind of like Hudson. There it is. It's right here. Poughkeepsie. Poughkeepsie. We almost got a show there last year, but it ended up falling through because I couldn't find any locals on that short of notice. Kind of Hudson Valley areas. There's a scene right here for the Hudson River. I heard Connecticut, the Hartford scene is pretty solid. New Haven is where the crispy pizza craze is. They have a lot of thin crust over there. That's completely unrelated to tour booking. I don't even know why I said that. But yeah, Mass. You got Boston. You got Worcester. Speaking of, that is actually where Jay Cutler is from. Famous four-time Mr. Olympia. Went up against Ronnie Coleman probably 12 times before he won. Manchester, New Hampshire. That's where NH Booking is from. That's where the bungalow is. And I hear Burlington, Vermont's actually really good too. But this is like some high level shit. If you're from Louisiana and you're booking 5-day runs, this circuit is what you need to be paying attention to. And shit, maybe start here and move all the way up to Amarillo, go through Lubbock, Midland, hit Austin, and then come back. Those are some really long drives, though. But sometimes that's what's required to get the most amount of distance in the fewest amount of days. But Amarillo, Lubbock, Odessa, the scenes are pretty good. There's just, like I said, so many cities here within this range that I'm circling. Okay, let's talk about budgets. It's the final topic that I have listed here. Let's say it costs $60 a day to fuel the vehicle to the next city. That means you need to, when you're booking, guarantees are going to be hard at first, but you need to try and get a high percentage of the door, and you need to have the merch that's really solid. So at the very least, you can pay for fuel to get to the next town. And then you repeat that. Every time you break even, the easier it gets. Because then you start paying attention to numbers. So by the end of it, let's say we said $60 a day for gas for 4 days. $240 for 4 days. That should be well within a grasp of a band from the 500 to 2,000 follower level. It means you have to get at the very least $60 from the door, and if your merch sells well, you're probably looking at like $120 per show. And that's gross income. 120 times 4 is $480 versus the $240. So you're profiting $240. But that's not the only expenses you have to take into account. It's not just the fuel. It's whether or not you're budgeting for food, for lodging, showers, whatever it happens to be. Every single expenditure needs to be written down and remembered. Because you can't improve those metrics every time you go out unless you're actually documenting and paying attention to them. Even if these other things aren't coming out of the band budget and are coming out of each member's pockets, you need to be paying attention to that, because you keep doing this, the better you're going to get at it. The better you get at it, the more money you make. The more money you make, the more likely it is you continue doing this, and eventually all these little expenses that the band members are individually taking care of themselves will come out of the band fund, because the band will be able to pay for itself at that point. And that's really the goal. You want a self-sustaining merch machine, touring machine. Pretty much all the major expenses when we go out on the road are paid for, except for when we have to put money into new merch designs, which we've had to do recently. But if you really want to be a touring musician, sacrifices have to be made. And it's like, I get it, jobs are Jobs are extremely important. Money is what we need to survive. But you have to put the time off. Because it's like, how much does this matter to you? Because at the end of the day, there's not going to be an excuse. Because there's not really a participation trophy here. You have to be super on top of things to the point that you're so stressed out all the time. Because you have to understand at the end of the day, there is a light at the end of the tunnel. There is a fruit that you can pick from a tree. You just have to plant those seeds and you have to keep reaching for it. As long as it's something you want to do. Because if it's not something you want to do and you're losing passion, then it probably isn't something you should be doing. Don't take the fun out of it. And yeah, sometimes there'll be shows where money isn't what you get. In fact, maybe sometimes you lose money. But the connections you gain could turn into real monetary profit in the future. Notice how I mentioned bands that are on Get in the Van booking earlier. There's a reason for that. That band comes to your town. They need a band to jump on. Your band isn't doing anything that night. Kind of weigh your options there, but that's another connection you could make. Like, say, Turn Cold pulls up in Shreveport. It would be a smart option for Bite Back to jump on that show because they're helping out a band that's signed to a Get in the Van booking, which is the booking agency that could eventually help them out fill shows later. I mean, we're supporting Chained and Ritual Killer. Us doing that could potentially help us find a fill-in member at some point in the future. Maybe it'll be one of them. Who knows? All I know for a fact is that us having a good first impression and reputation with bands that are signed to to a booking agency, that's going to make them more likely to want to work with us in the future. These things are important. And promoters talk to the agencies. And we've gotten very many compliments. Not directly, but the booking, the promoters, they talk back to Adam. Not talk back to him. They transmit information. And if you do something bad on the road, a promoter could talk shit to you about to the agent that they are in communication with. You always want good things to be said. In this industry, stuff like that is very important. What the hell is this? Powerplay is the band fronted by Adam from Get in the Van booking, who is the leader. He's the CEO. They got Adam, and they have Kate. They have Zeke. Phil from Chained is one of them. What's his name? I think it's Tyler from Your Spirit Dies is another booking agent under their umbrella.